Dive into the dark side of rock climbing with us as we unravel 5 true stories of tragedy and mystery. These aren't your typical accidents. They're eerie, they're unsettling, and they'll leave you wondering what really went down. From climbers vanishing without a trace to bizarre accidents that defy logic, each tale grips you tighter than a cliff edge. Join us as we peel back the layers of these disturbing rock climbing deaths and try to make sense of the inexplicable. On August 1, 2008, on the treacherous slopes of K2, a group of climbers went on a daring expedition, each fueled by their passion for mountaineering and the desire to climb one of the world's most frightening peaks. Among them were Lars Nessa, Rolf Bay, and Cecily Skog, Norwegian adventurers known for their experience and skill in extreme environments. Lars Nessa, an experienced climber with numerous expeditions under his belt, had always been drawn to the challenge of high-altitude mountaineering. His love for the mountains was matched only by his determination to push the limits of human endurance, a trait that had earned him the respect of his peers in the climbing community. Rolf Bay, a close friend and climbing partner of Lars, shared his passion for adventure and exploration. Together, they had tackled some of the world's most challenging peaks, forging a bond that went beyond mere friendship. Rolf's determination and boundless enthusiasm were an inspiration to all who knew him. Cecily Skog, a renowned explorer and mountaineer, rounded out the trio with her fearless spirit and unshakable will. Her list of accomplishments included expeditions to both the North and South Poles, earning her a reputation as one of the world's leading female adventurers. As they set out on their ascent of K2, Lars, Rolf, and Cecily were joined by members of the Norrit team, including Wilco van Rooyen, Cas van de Gevel, Gera McDonald, and Pemba Gallia Sherpa. Together, they formed a close-knit group, united by their shared goal of reaching the summit. The climb began smoothly, with the climbers making steady progress despite the challenging terrain and unpredictable weather conditions. But as they neared the summit, disaster struck. On August 1st, tragedy struck when Serbian climber Dren Mandic lost his footing and fell to his death, sending shockwaves through the expedition team. Jahan Baig, a Pakistani climber who attempted to rescue Mandic, tragically met the same fate. The loss of their fellow climbers cast a shadow over the expedition, but Lars, Rolf, and Cecily remained determined to continue on their trip. With their sights set on the summit, they forged ahead, pushing through fatigue and challenges that came their way. But as they climbed higher, the challenges only grew more daunting. Fierce winds and freezing temperatures battered the climbers, testing their endurance and resolve to the breaking point. Despite their best efforts, progress slowed to a crawl, and the summit seemed further away than ever. As night fell on the slopes of K2, the climbers huddled together for warmth, their spirits uplifted by the hope of reaching the summit at last. But as the darkness deepened, it became clear that their struggle was far from over. Avalanches and ice falls threatened to engulf them at every turn, forcing the climbers to navigate dangerous terrain with caution and precision. Exhausted and battered by the elements, they clung to the hope that dawn would bring relief from the relentless cold and darkness. But as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, it became apparent that their situation was more dire than they had imagined. The Korean team, led by Mr. Kim, found themselves stranded on a precarious ledge, their chances of survival growing slimmer by the minute. Despite their desperate attempts to descend, they were trapped by ice falls and impassable terrain, their hopes of rescue fading with each passing hour. As the day wore on, the climbers faced a harsh reality. Their chances of survival were dwindling with each passing moment. In the end, the mountain claimed the lives of Lars Nessa, Rolf Bay, and Cecily Skog, along with members of the Korean team and their Sherpas. Their dreams of reaching the summit were cut short by forces beyond their control, leaving behind a trail of devastation and heartbreak. As the climbing community mourned the loss of those who had perished on K2's icy slopes, questions lingered about what had gone wrong and how such a tragedy could have been prevented. Some speculated that a combination of factors, including the mountain's unpredictable weather and the climber's exhaustion, had contributed to the disaster. But amidst the speculation and uncertainty, one thing remained clear. The climbers who had lost their lives on K2 had faced the ultimate test of human endurance and courage. July 5, 2013 marked a turning point in the climbing world, a day marked by tragedy that would forever change the lives of those involved. Tito Claudio Traversa, a 12-year-old climbing prodigy from Italy, set out on what was supposed to be another exhilarating adventure in Orpierre, France. Born on April 22, 2001, Tito had shown an extraordinary talent for climbing from a young age, astonishing experienced climbers with his natural ability and determination. Tito's journey into the world of climbing began when he was just a child, his passion ignited by the thrill of scaling mountains and conquering new heights. At the tender age of 8, he achieved a remarkable feat by conquering his first 8A route, a sign of his unparalleled skill and dedication. With each climb, Tito pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible for someone his age, earning recognition and respect from his peers and mentors alike. As Tito's reputation grew, so too did his ambitions. By age 9, he had already surpassed the realm of possibility, tackling an 8B route with confidence and grace. And at 10, he reached new heights once again, ascending an 8B plus route that left the climbing community in awe of his talent and determination. But amidst the accolades and admiration, Tito remained humble, his love for climbing driving him forward in pursuit of his dreams. However, tragedy struck on that fateful day in July, casting a shadow over Tito's promising future. During his climb in Orpierre, he didn't realize it would be his last. A crucial mistake in assembling his quick draws, the carabiners were incorrectly threaded, compromised his safety. Tragically, Tito lost his footing and fell to the ground below, ending his young life in a heart-wrenching moment. The news of Tito's death shocked the climbing community, leaving his family, friends, and fellow climbers grappling with grief and disbelief. As they struggled to come to terms with the loss of someone so young and talented, questions began to arise about how such a tragedy could have occurred. Was it simply a tragic accident, or could it have been prevented with better oversight and safety measures? An investigation into the circumstances surrounding Tito's death revealed a disturbing truth. 8 out of 10 of his quick draws had been improperly assembled, a fatal oversight that ultimately cost him his life. In the aftermath of the accident, 5 individuals were charged with manslaughter, including those responsible for the production and distribution of the faulty equipment, as well as the instructors overseeing the climbing trip. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the climbing community grappled with the harsh reality of Tito's death and the implications it had for the sport as a whole. Could such a tragedy have been prevented? What if the quick draws had been inspected more thoroughly before Tito's climb? What if stricter safety regulations had been in place to prevent such oversights from occurring in the future? It was a dry yet chilly August day when Pete Absalon, the Rocky Mountain director of NOLS, went on a climbing expedition in Wyoming's Wind River Range with his friend and fellow mentor, Steve Herlihy. Absalon, an experienced climber with years of experience, had carefully planned their route, eager to explore a new line he had discovered during a camping trip with his family. As they ventured higher into the cirque, Herlihy couldn't help but feel honored to be climbing alongside Absalon, who had taken him under his wing like a younger brother. The two men shared a bond forged through years of shared adventures and challenges. Their ascent was slow but steady, going through dangerous terrain and clearing loose rocks along the way. Despite the fatigue, Herlihy pushed on, trusting Absalon's leadership and expertise. But tragedy struck in an instant, shattering the peacefulness present within the mountains. Without warning, a rock came hurtling down from above, striking Absalon with deadly force. Herlihy's world was suddenly plunged into chaos as he witnessed his friend's lifeless form hanging from the ropes, the echoes of the impact still ringing in his ears. In that moment of shock and disbelief, Herlihy grappled with the reality of Absalon's death, his mind racing with unanswered questions. What if they had chosen a different route? What if they had been more cautious? These haunting questions lingered in the air as Herlihy struggled to come to terms with the loss of his friend and mentor. A short time ago, miles away, a group of hikers stood on the rim of Leg Lake Cirque, unaware of what they were about to cause. Among them were the Rudolph brothers, drawn to the beauty of the mountains like so many before them. As they gazed out over the sweeping views, little did they know that their actions would soon intersect with the lives of Absalon and Herlihy in a way they could never have imagined. In a moment of careless curiosity, Luke Rudolph picked up a rock and hurled it into the abyss below, unaware of the climbers hidden from view. What started as a simple act of youthful exuberance would soon spiral into a nightmare of guilt and remorse. As the rock plummeted toward the unsuspecting climbers, it struck Absalon in the back of his head, causing his tragic demise. As Herlihy grappled with the aftermath of Absalon's death, he found himself drawn into a web of grief and anger that stretched far beyond the mountains of Wyoming. The news of Absalon's passing spread like wildfire, sparking outrage and disbelief among the tight-knit community of climbers and adventurers. For Molly Absalon, Pete's widow, the pain was almost too much to bear as she struggled to make sense of her husband's untimely death. In the days and weeks that followed, Herlihy and Molly sought solace in each other's company, their shared grief binding them together in a way neither could have anticipated. As they navigated the complexities of loss and forgiveness, they found themselves grappling with the difficult questions of justice and accountability. What if Luke Rudolph had faced criminal charges for his actions? What if the legal system had offered Molly the closure she so desperately sought? It was October 5, 1999, when tragedy struck the mountaineering community, claiming the lives of two renowned climbers, Alex Lowe and David Bridges. The events leading up to their demise began innocently enough, with a dream of skiing down the slopes of the world's 14th highest peak, Shishapangma. But what started as an ambitious adventure turned into a harrowing ordeal that would leave lasting scars on those involved. Alex Lowe, a revered figure in the climbing world, was known for his daring ascents and infectious passion for the mountains. Alongside him was David Bridges, a talented photographer and paragliding champion, whose thirst for adventure matched Lowe's own. Together, they went on a trip to climb Shishapangma, driven by the desire to make history with the first ski descent of the dangerous peak. The expedition was not without its challenges. Organized by Conrad Anker, Lowe's best friend and longtime climbing partner, it attracted attention and sponsorship from major outdoor brands. With support from sponsors like The North Face and Polar Tech, the team grew in size and ambition, turning a simple ski trip into a full-scale climbing expedition. But as they set out to explore the slopes of Shishapangma, little did they know that fate had other plans in store. On that tragic day in October, while conducting a reconnaissance mission near the base camp, disaster struck. An avalanche, triggered by a seemingly harmless overhang of snow, cascaded down the mountainside with terrifying force, engulfing everything in its path. Lowe, Bridges, and Anker found themselves in the path of the avalanche, their lives hanging in the balance as tons of snow hurtled toward them. In a desperate bid for survival, they scrambled to find shelter, but it was too late. The avalanche swept them away, leaving chaos and devastation in its wake. As the dust settled and the snow cleared, Anker emerged, battered but alive, miraculously spared by the wrath of nature. But Lowe and Bridges were nowhere to be found. An exhaustive search ensued, with teammates scouring the mountainside for any sign of their missing companions. However, despite their efforts, there was no trace of Lowe and Bridges amidst the snow and ice. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the climbing community mourned the loss of two of its brightest stars. Lowe, hailed as the best American mountaineer of his generation, left behind a legacy of daring feats and unbridled passion for the mountains. Bridges, a rising talent in the world of climbing and photography, was remembered for his infectious enthusiasm and boundless energy. For Anchor, the loss was deeply personal. Not only had he lost two dear friends, but he also found himself thrust into a new role as a father figure to Lowe's three sons. In the years that followed, Anchor would honor Lowe's memory by marrying his widow Jennifer and raising their children as his own. But even as time passed and the wounds healed, the mystery of Lowe and Bridges' disappearance remained unsolved. 16 years went by, with their fate shrouded in uncertainty and speculation. Then, in April 2016, a discovery was made. Swiss alpinist Uli Steck and German climber David Goetler, on their own expedition to Shishapangma, stumbled upon the frozen remains of Lowe and Bridges, preserved in the ice at an altitude of over 19,000 feet. The discovery brought closure to a chapter that had long haunted the mountaineering world, yet it also raised new questions about the events that had led to their demise. As Steck and Goetler stood amidst the frozen landscape, they made a respectful decision to leave Lowe and Bridges undisturbed, out of respect for their memory. The bodies, frozen in time for over a decade, served as a reminder of the dangers that were hidden yet present in the world's highest peaks. For Anchor and Jennifer, the news brought a mix of emotions. While the discovery provided closure, it also reopened old wounds and forced them to confront the painful reality of their loss. However, amidst the grief, there was also a sense of peace, knowing that Lowe and Bridges had finally been found and laid to rest in the place they loved most. As the mountaineering world grappled with the news of Lowe and Bridges' discovery, questions lingered about the circumstances surrounding their deaths. What had truly happened on that day in October 1999? Could their fate have been avoided, or was it simply a tragic accident waiting to happen? What if they had chosen a different route that day? What if the avalanche had struck just minutes earlier or later? Such questions would linger in the minds of climbers and enthusiasts alike, a sign of life's fragile nature and how important it is to cherish every moment, especially if what we love doing requires risking our lives. Dan Osman, a famous figure in the world of rock climbing, met his tragic end on a fateful day in November 1998. Known for his daring exploits and innovative techniques, Osman's life exemplified the pursuit of adventure and the relentless quest to push the boundaries of human potential. Born in Orange County in 1963, Osman's passion for climbing was ignited early in life. His journey led him to South Lake Tahoe, where he honed his skills as a carpenter and construction worker to support his true calling, rock climbing. Standing at 5 feet 10 with a compact gymnast-like build, Osman possessed a perfect strength-to-weight ratio that made him a formidable force on the cliffs. Osman's ascent to fame began in the landscapes of Joshua Tree National Park, where he crossed paths with climbing partner Dave Griffith. It was here that Osman's extraordinary abilities became evident as he effortlessly tackled challenging climbs with grace and precision. Griffith recalls Osman's mastery of the sport, describing him as light but strong, with a natural talent that set him apart from his peers. As Osman's reputation grew, so too did his appetite for pushing the limits of traditional climbing. He delved into the world of free soloing, a discipline that demanded courage and technical prowess, with audacious climbs like Purple Haze and Blues Riff. Osman cemented his status as one of the most fearless climbers of his generation. But it wasn't Osman's climbing prowess that captivated audiences. It was his flair for the dramatic. Known for his stylish movements and dynamic presence, Osman was a natural performer whose feats left spectators in awe. Whether it was free soloing daunting cliffs or executing breathtaking rope jumps, Osman's daring stunts captured the imagination of a generation. However, Osman's life was not without its complexities. Despite his fearless persona on the cliffs, he grappled with personal problems and the pressures of fame. His tumultuous relationship with his daughter, Emma, and the strains of balancing family life with his insatiable thirst for adventure weighed heavily on his mind. In the months leading up to his tragic accident, Osmond found himself embroiled in controversy and legal troubles. His daring rope jumps drew criticism from some quarters who viewed his exploits as reckless and irresponsible. But to Osmond, each jump was a calculated risk, a test of his own limits, and a celebration of the courage that was present in him. On that day in Yosemite, Osmond set out to break new ground with a record-setting jump from the Leaning Tower. Armed with his trademark determination and boundless enthusiasm, he went on what would be his final adventure. But as Osmond leapt into the void, tragedy struck. A fatal error in the rigging caused the rope to fail, sending him plummeting to his death. The news of Osmond's passing shocked everyone within the climbing community and beyond. Friends and admirers mourned the loss of a true pioneer, a man whose legacy would resonate for years to come. As investigations into the accident unfolded, questions lingered about what went wrong and what could have been done differently. In the wake of Osmond's death, the climbing world was left to grapple with the loss of a true icon. His daring exploits and fearless spirit had inspired countless climbers to push beyond their limits and embrace the thrill of the unknown. What if Osmond's final jump had been just another daring feat in a long line of accomplishments?